Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. I have had a busy day. I've spent the whole day painting. So, let me grab some paint. Not some paint, some pencils, I mean. There we go. So, I think these can go here. So I'm just setting things up a little bit. We are going to draw a portrait today. So, there we go. As I said, we are going to draw a portrait today. I'm going to use my sketchbook. It's filling up really nicely. So as you can see, there's only this many pages left. I'm not going to count them, but maybe 20 out of total, or 10, I don't know. A few pages, everything else is full. So, and I'm going to draw on this page, I think. So let's sort that out. And do I have another clip? Maybe somewhere. There we go. My studio is a bit of a mess at the moment because I'm getting everything ready for my course that starts tomorrow, which is all ready now, but I spent the whole morning doing that, and then I'm going to tidy the house and stuff because I have some house guests tonight, and that means you have to tidy the house. There we go. So, actually I want to create a little bit more space on this side so we can really properly, maybe I can move the reference picture a little bit. There we go, that is better. So now we have the reference picture here on the left hand side, and then you can see the paper that I'm drawing on, and that makes a little bit more sense with the space that I have here. Deep breath, ready for a bit of creative time. Sometimes I like to roll my shoulders or take a deep breath or just get in the moment for a little bit. And I picked this photo because I liked the posture. I like the fact that this woman is a little bit older. Sometimes it's really easy to only draw like really young people, like 15, 20-year-olds. 25-year-olds, and it's nice to create variety in the type of faces that you draw. So I always try and pick different, people in different backgrounds, different skin colors, different, hairdos, different facial expressions, and I really create a variety in the people that I draw because it just keeps it more interesting for me, and also it means that I learn to draw all these different faces. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to draw quite small. So if you want to join in and you're going to use this reference picture, make sure you draw quite small. I linked the link to this photo in the description already, but I will also add it in the chat. There we go. And if you're drawing along, please let me know in the chat. I love to know that you're drawing with me. I just love it. So let me know where you are based, in what country, and if you are drawing with me today. So then I think we'll dive straight in there. So I'm thinking that the color that I'm going to use sort of as the most dominant color today is going to be green. Maybe green and blue, do a bit of a portrait in those tones. So I got all these oranges and reds ready here. But let me move that around. I will use this tray with greens and blues. I think I'll use that a little bit more. You can see I'm not very good at keeping my colors in the right order. I always mix them up. I'm a bit too lazy to put them all back in the right place. So if you have any questions throughout this drawing session, just put them in the chat. I'm very happy to answer them. So ask away and I'm very happy to help you. There we go. So I am going to start, I think, with this teal color. It's called cobalt turquoise, but it's a bit like a teal color. I like to sketch immediately with color pencils. So sometimes I sketch with a sketch pencil, but I like using my color pencils for sketching as well. So that's what I'm planning to do. So just moving my microphone a little bit. So that's what I'm doing today as well. And I'm going to draw quite small because of the amount of time that I want to spend on this drawing. And I'm starting with the large shape. So I'm just focusing on the shape of this person's face. This is sort of the shape of the face as I'm seeing it. The photo, if you download it, is a bit bigger, so we can see a bit more of this top that she's wearing and a bit more of the background. I decided to crop it a bit because I just wanted to focus on the face. So if this is roughly the hair, so I'm just really lightly sketching out. I know that this is a bit difficult to see, but it will get a bit darker in a moment. So the ear here. And this is not going to be a hyper-realistic portrait. I'm using the photo for reference and for inspiration, but it's not going to be like a super likely portrait, just so you know. That is because of the amount of time that I have and that I want to spend on this. If you want to make a really hyper-realistic portrait, well, that's really great. It's really a lot of fun to do, but you need a bit more time than half an hour or an hour. So, there we go. Oh, hi Carol, really lovely to see you. I'm glad that you're drawing along as well. That is really nice. Lovely. So start with the large shapes. Just focus on the main shape that you're noticing. It doesn't immediately have to be perfect. So now what I like to do is put a line over the face to show where the sort of line that goes from the sort of top of the face to the nose, to the lips, to the chin, sort of over the middle where that line roughly is. So if I put it here, I'm keeping it really light because I don't want that to be a really dark mark. I'm doing the same here for the eyebrows. So the nose is going to be roughly here. And again, this does not have to be absolutely perfect, but I want to at least draw a character, draw a person that I feel sort of represents the photo at least a little bit. So see if we can get a bit of the essence of this person on the paper. So this is a little circle shape for the nose. These are the lips. So maybe I'll also add in a bit of the shape of the face here with the chin. So the cheeks, that lovely roundness there. See, there we go. So this is for the eyebrows, that shape. And the eyes, they are roughly sort of here. See how that is inspired by this person, even if it's not hyper-realistic. Hopefully we can sort of recognize her a bit. So I'm just slowly sketching a bit further. I'm not looking at any details yet. I'm just focusing on the main shapes. Where are the shoulders? You see that this shoulder, that they're a little bit higher because of the angle that we're looking at her and the way she's sitting. So we can see that the shoulders are a bit higher. So this one is sort of appearing here, next to where the mouth is that height, and this one here under the ear. And if we sort of put a line there, imaginary, between the ear and the nose, that's roughly at the same height as well. Roughly. So I think I'll give her a little bun in her hair. So I like the idea of them. So this is my sketch. This is the phase of the sketch that I'm at the moment. Just zoom in a little bit more. Hope you can see it all. Okay, I'm just making sure that you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So once you're at this stage where you have a bit of the sort of roundness. Oh, you're using crayons. When you say crayon, do you mean, like in England we say crayons like they're like these? Like these. So in England we call this crayons, but I know that in some places of the world we call these pencil crayons. So I'm assuming you mean these. And if you draw with crayons, so maybe I'll do a little crayon drawing here. I find that a lot of fun. So I'm going to do the same thing. I would approach it in the same way, but maybe even focus more on the main shape. So I would start out with that shape of the face. I'm doing the same. So my crayon has a bit of mark on it. These are oil pastel crayons. So, because crayons are quite chunky, this is a bit small for crayon. I'd work a little bit bigger than in color pencil if I was you. And just really focus on the main shapes first with a light color. So. And then what I'm going to do with the coloring pencil. Someone's phoning me, but I'm not answering. What I'm going to do with the coloring pencil is really focus on the shadow area. So I'm using that blue and I'm going to lightly block out the darker area. So here around the eye. So keeping it really soft. I'm not putting lots of pressure on my pencil. Just seeing where do I see the darker shadows in this face. So maybe here around the nose. Around the eyes. And if you work in crayon, I do the same thing. So pick a slightly darker color and just start with adding in those darker shapes here as well. So of course I would recommend working a bit bigger because crayon is a bit chunky. So just color block, only focus on those darker areas. No details yet. We work from large to small. Doesn't matter what material you work in. You can always join in my sessions with any material. So just focus on the dark shapes and then see how slowly the face starts to come forward. So same for pencil as it is for crayons. Hi Linda, really lovely to see you. Thanks for joining in. So just grab yourself some materials and find a reference photo or something else. If you want to draw something else or working on a different project, you can do that as well, of course. So at the moment, when I focus on those darker areas, I focus specifically on shapes and not on lines. So here on the chest is a bit of shadow. And I'm really focusing on what shape does that shadow have? Does it go all the way around here? The shadow here around the eye. So I'm not adding in more lines or details at the moment. I'm just focusing on the shape. So the hair as well. And I've only worked in one color so far, only this blue. I think I'll keep my color scheme a little bit simple today. Just working in greens and blues. So. And just starting to add in. So I think the nose is a bit lower, there's a bit of shadow underneath there as well. So just adding that in a little bit lower. I'm not even really adding in the shape of the nose, I'm just color blocking. So, and the light in this picture is coming here from the right hand side. And that means that everything that's on the left is a bit darker and everything that's on the right is a bit lighter. So that is the same for the crayon version as well. So I can make this side a little bit darker. So this is a bit small for crayon, but that's okay. So I wasn't really planning to do 2 drawings at the same time, but always up for a challenge, right? So in that crayon version, I'm not adding in any detail yet. I'm just creating a bit like a silhouette. So, and then I'm picking that contrasting color, which is a bit lighter here, and adding in that lighter side. So I'm going to do the same for the pencil one, picking in a contrasting color. So I have this blue color. It is my Faber Castell polychromos, cobalt turquoise. You don't need to have the exact same color, but people always ask me what the colors are that I'm using. And I'm just picking a random green. I think this is kind of nice. It's called grass green, so a nice bright green. And it already has a nice sharp tip. And I'm just going to go over the entire face. So adding in a bit of that secondary color. So green might seem like a slightly strange color, greens and blues to draw for a portrait. But the reason I'm picking blues and greens is because those colors naturally go together really well. Green and blue are next to each other on the color wheel. If you have the color wheel, you have sort of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and that sort of goes towards red again. Then green and blue are next to each other, and that means that they will naturally go together really well. So if you want to sort of experiment with color and you're not quite sure what colors to go for, if you're quite new to drawing, just pick 2 colors that are next to each other in the rainbow or on the color wheel, and you immediately will have a bit of a color scheme that will work. You can also pick colors that are opposite on the color wheel, but the chances of that clashing or it not being harmonious can be quite high. Whilst if you work with colors next to each other, then you know that there's automatically going to be a harmony in color. So I am slowly going to build these colors up. So I'm going to make those areas that are a bit darker, a bit even more dark. So starting to work here on the eyes. I'm looking a little bit closer at that reference photo. I'm sort of going back and forth between the YouTube screen and my own screen where I have the reference photo because I can see it a little bit better there. And I'd really recommend to work with the sharp tip, which just broke off. I think I'm going to use a different pencil sharpener. just quickly finding a different pencil sharpener because I don't like that one very much. It's not quite sharp enough anymore. So this is my box of sharpeners and erasers. I have a lot of boxes with spare materials because of all the art classes that I run. And if I run in-person classes, I need to have like 20 sharpeners and 20 erasers and 20 pencils, and I have a lot extra. For that reason that I use myself as well. So if I can't find anything, I'm always a bit lazy and just grab one from the pile. There we go. So I have a sharp pencil now, and I'm just slowly going to build up the colors. And I'm still using that same color that I started with. Oh, excuse me. And I'm just going to make these features a little bit darker. So here under the eyebrow, around the eye. So I'm still layering, adding it sort of slowly. So there we go, adding in the shape of the cheek a little bit more. I'm taking my time. There's no rush, maybe there's a bit more hair around here. Slowly adding in a little bit more texture and a little bit more pressure on my pencil. So if you're quite new to drawing in color pencil, then now you can create this whole range. So that's a bit different for crayons, but with color pencils you can create a whole range of varieties of color, going from really, really light sort of to darker, 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 darker. So you see, and then if I use the tip of my pencil a bit more. So, and then really a lot of pressure. So doing a bit of burnishing. See? So this is the range of colors that I can create with only one pencil. So I always want to start on that side and then slowly build it up towards the darker side. So at the moment I'm sort of somewhere in the middle. That's a little bit different when you work with oil pastels. Oil pastels is almost like paint. Most crayons are a bit like paint, in the sense that they apply quite thick and you can layer them on top of each other. But they don't really have that variety in tones where you go from light to dark. They're sort of instantly there, instantly a bit thicker. So you can see I'm adding in the shape of the nose a bit more. So I want to make sure that that expression is a smile. So adding in a bit of that color here around the cheeks, letting that fade a bit. So it's okay to just take your time, slowly build it up. And the more you draw, the more people you draw as well, the easier it gets. Because I know that drawing portraits can be a bit intimidating. It's okay. It's okay to set yourself a challenge and to do something that is a little bit more difficult. So I'm just seeing if anyone is having any questions, but I think I didn't see any, so I think everyone is just getting on with their artworks. So, and the technique that I'm using at the moment is very much layering. So I'm layering colors. So, and what I really like about color pencils is that you can slowly build up your drawing, and the benefit of that is that you can sort of slowly choose what you want to add in, and you have a bit of time to think. If you work with paint, for example, you sometimes have to choose quite fast. Everything dries quick, and then there's all these other sort of pressures on time. But with color pencil, you can really take your time and slowly build up your drawing, and that's a really great way of practicing. Even if I would walk away now and I picked up my pencil tomorrow, I could carry on. Every line is quite fine. So one line, one extra bit of pencil is not going to make such a big difference to the drawing, but 100 lines is. So that's sort of part of the building it up slow process. So I want to add in a bit of shadow in the ear. So a bit of an earring here as well. There we go. I do not know who this person is. The photo is from a website called Unsplash. I just liked the photo, which is why I picked it. So I'm going to add in a little bit more color. So I'll zoom out a little bit. There we go. I don't know if I can mute myself for a second. I don't think I can. I'm going to blow my nose for a second. So, excuse me. That was just a bit of a runny nose from that sneeze. I am going to add in a little bit more color. So I have a bit of blue and a bit of green. I'm going to add in a little bit of this light blue. I think I can also add in maybe a bit of purple or a bit more extra colors. See, this color is quite a bit lighter than that one. So, there we go. So I'm just now slowly starting to add in a bit more. I do want to add something a little bit warmer to the picture as well, because I do find that all this blue and green is a bit cold. It's a bit of a cold tone, cold combination. So maybe I want to add in something warm, maybe a bit of yellow. So I pick a bit of warm yellow. I'm planning to do these every week, Linda, and I've not quite decided what I'm going to do for each session. I sort of plan it on the day. But if you'd like to do a painting, let me know. I'm always happy to do painting or drawing or mix it up a little bit. The idea is to do something that I can do in a sketchbook. So, something quick. I do a lot of other sessions in my community as well, and in my courses as well, where you sort of learn specific skills. This is a bit more about hanging out together and being able to ask some questions as well. Just have fun, a bit of creative time. So making this a bit darker. So I'm just building things up slowly. I am going to start in my new art studio next week in Cambridge, which I'm really looking forward to. It is a shared studio space with lots of other creatives from different disciplines and backgrounds, and I'm really looking forward to being surrounded by all that creativity and interaction. And I'm also going to run more courses there and classes. So I'm going to do in-person art classes, one-to-ones, and for small groups, which is going to be a lot of fun, I think. So see, slowly layering up these colors. And I really love making these sort of colorful little portraits. There's quite a few of these in the sketchbook. I was part of Sketchbook Revival last year, where we were also doing a portrait. Seems like a long time ago already now, doesn't it? So what I like about color pencil is that when you look at a portrait or at any drawing, that you don't immediately see what the colors are that you've used, but that they mix up a bit and that they keep things a bit mysterious. That's something that, like a vibe that I really like to go with. So you can use the tip of your pens as well to add some harsher marks here and there. So these are the colors that I've used so far, 4 tones, and I want to mix it up a bit, so maybe adding in a bit of purple. So I'm adding that here to the cheeks, a bit to the nose, a bit to the cheeks here, so you can see that there's a bit of a warmer tone. Purple has a bit of red in it, so maybe a bit to the lips. So I'm adding that color in over those other colors that I've used, really softly, so just layering it up gently. Maybe other areas here where there's a bit more of a warmer tone. So my shadows need to be a bit darker still, but that's okay. It's not one step and then done. We're slowly building it up. So I think that means that my shadows can be a bit darker, so around here. Contrast is really important for any drawing. Contrast is what really makes a drawing more realistic. Even if colors are not realistic, having the contrast in the right place and dark enough makes a world, like literally a world of difference. So I think I need to find a slightly darker tone. Maybe this dark blue. That the blue that I was using is just not quite intense enough for those dark shadows. So let's switch it up. You can also use black, but I try to sort of stay away from black, at least for a while till the end of my artwork, because I just usually find black a bit harsh. So when you're holding your color pencil, try and not grip it too hard, because it's really tempting to hold it really tight. But if you do that, you will get cramp in your fingers quite quickly. See, there we go, a little bit more darker tones. Makes the features stand out a little bit more. And for today, I don't mind if some of the drawing is, if the proportions are a little bit off, or if it's not hyper realistic, because it's only a quick sketch. But what I do like is have the right sort of vibe and emotion, have that friendliness in place, that smile. That's something that I'm really focusing on today. And sometimes I don't always set an intention when I'm drawing. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I think having an intention can be a really great way of focusing on what you want to learn in a session. You don't always have, sometimes you just draw for fun and it doesn't really matter if you learn something or not. But I also sometimes think, okay, this is something I'm going to focus on today. And I enjoy that. It also helps me keeping that focus. So today is like, okay, I want to have the right vibe, friendliness, the smile. And then it's also easier to sort of know, okay, did I succeed in that? Did I come out the way that I wanted it to come out? I can be a little bit strict with myself sometimes because I drew so many drawings that I do like focusing on learning. And I know that I am an art teacher, but I'm very much still on that path of learning myself because it never stops. You can always learn more. There's always things that someone can teach you or other skills that someone can teach you. So that learning process never stops. So let's make that hair a bit darker. There we go, maybe a bit more on this side as well, slightly lower forehead. So eyebrows a little bit darker. So I think I might be almost finished with my drawing. A bit of shadow here on the earlobe. Try to add in a little bit of features here, so you can really combine how do you call it, crayons as well with color pencils. Sometimes it can be a really great way of adding a bit more detail to a drawing, because this is a bit too small to add details in that crayon. So see, there we go. If you have a black pencil or something, and sometimes that can be enough to make something a bit more detailed. I quite like that actually. I think it is a fantastic little sketch. A little mirror picture. Just want the areas that really want to stand out a bit darker. So here the eyes. That's really that sort of putting all that pressure on that pencil, creating some really dark marks here. A bit of there in the nose. Corners of the mouth, I always find that it makes a huge difference to make those really dark. It really shows that they're often darker places. So I'm going to put my pencil down. This was my sketch for today. These are all the colors that I have used. I kept them all to the side. So I started with blue, then green, added a bit of yellow and light blue, and slowly added more colors. You can see that some colors are more dominant than others. For the purple, for example, I only added a little bit. Sorry, Eva, I'm not 100% sure if I understand your question. Why use light blue and pink if you will only make it purple and dark? I just think that all the colors sort of work together. And if I'd used a really dark purple, for example, then that tone would have been very different. So that color is immediately really intense. So the more light colors that you sort of build up, the more interesting it's going to be. And it's a choice, because I could have used a dark purple as well. I can still add a bit of dark purple. You can see how that color sort of instantly makes a much more somber, darker effect. I don't know if you can see that. I can zoom in a little bit more. So I would just really recommend practicing with the colors that you have to see what color combinations you enjoy. Here, that dark purple is almost like black in comparison. So I'll add a bit more on this side as well, so that balances it out. So that it's really personal what colors you enjoy, and one thing is not necessarily right and the other wrong. But I do like to mix in various colors with my drawings, and I tend to go for sort of brighter colors personally. And it's also a little bit safer, because as soon as you go in with a really dark color, there's not really a going back. That's an instant, like really intense impact. And if you build some lighter colors up, then that is a little bit safer. But also the all the colors work together, so it will shine through. So you can see that there's quite a bit of yellow, for example, in the background that sort of shines through. But if you look at this from a distance, no one would say, "Oh, that's a yellow drawing." If I zoom out a little bit, there we go. So I hope that answered your question. That's my microphone in the way. There we go. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope I answered your question. If not, let me know, and I'll try to explain it better. And thank you so much for being with me here today. And I will see you again next week. Is this true? No, next week I am in London, but I will reschedule for another time next week to do some drawing with you. So I'll let you know. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all soon. I hope you enjoyed doing a bit of sketching, and show me a picture of what you've made if you like. I always love seeing it. You can share it on social media if you use Makings and Musings. Tag me in it, and then it will pop up. If you just use the hashtag, that doesn't work very well, because the order in which hashtags show up is changed. But if you tag me, then I can see it. Thanks everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.